I moved from one house to another, there were many things I had no room for. What does one do? I rented a storage space and filled it. Years passed. Occasionally I went there and looked in, but nothing happened. Not a single twinge of the heart. As I grew older, the things I cared about grew fewer, but they were more important. So one day I decided to undo the lock and call the trash man. He took everything. I felt like that little donkey when his burden is finally lifted. Things. Burn them. Burn them. Make a beautiful fire. More room in your heart for love. For the trees. For the birds who own nothing. Which is the reason they can fly.
There we are.
Blue shirt. One sec. She's bringing a microphone over to you, okay?
I have short legs. I'm sorry. Takes me a minute.
Howdy, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Robin, and I'm born and raised in LA. So we're not quite as connected to all the consumerism that some people say we are. But and anyway, I was cringing when you were reading the poem where the woman said she had the junk people come and take everything out of the storage unit. Because for me, part of living simply and the simplicity movement, which we used to call it 25 years ago, it's also about that the consumerism isn't just to be wasteful.
Yes.
And that things like Trash Nothing and other groups, it's we don't throw things away, things that other people can use. And I find it offensive when people talk about just, there's one thing to throw it away and there's one thing to share it with others. And that has also caused me to have a couple arguments with some friends where I wanted their plasticware that they were going to throw into the garbage, where I literally took it from the garbage and I said, I'll take it home and wash it. And they would, one friend of mine said, no, it's my garbage. I can do what I want with it. I said, what the fuck? You know, I said, I'm going to wash it. And then sometimes we use it, my family, or I give it to a shelter, or it's just this idea of the wastefulness. And it does have to do with the earth. Yeah, and it does have to do with this consumerist stuff.
Yeah. My wife is also, my wife is a literalist. And I think the poem's a metaphor. And when she says burn your stuff, she doesn't mean it literally, right? She means that these things are in the way. So whatever we need to do, it's just not as sexy for her to write, donate. And if you can't donate it, try to sell it on eBay. And if you can't sell it on eBay, have you considered Poshmark?
And also, this is something that may not apply in every situation, but if I may, it could apply in these particular conditions here. And now I'm getting really boring because I'm trying to be so precise that I cover everything and hedge my bets. I no longer become the kind of person that's worth listening to when I write.
So the line is things. Burn them, because you're making more room in your heart, right?
But I was talking about the line about the
yes.
truck coming and taking it all.
Yeah. They can't hear you. There's no microphone.
Dumpster. This idea it was the dumpster line. You know, these guys are going to come, take your stuff, take it to the dumpster. Yes. It wasn't the burden.
What was the principle you mentioned a few moments ago, TK?
Don't make me do this, man. You should just quote me instead of making me say it. It's mind your own business.
Rule number 2.
And so the point is that this is a metaphor. A metaphor for what? We don't mean literal room in our hearts, right? It's making room for what's truly important. And however you want to get rid of your things, I'm all for it. You know, when I talk about how to let go of possessions, the way that I do it is I try to sell it. If I can't sell it in 7 days, I lower the price. If it doesn't sell in 30 days, then I will donate it. If the person If I can't donate the thing, then I'll do my best to recycle it. And you go through that entire process. Occasionally, there'll still be things that are trash. And I'm not going to hold on to trash. And so I will let that go, and it will end up in a landfill. But when I follow that process, that allows me to reappropriate the things, repurpose the things, so they do find a home. If I'm not getting value from something, you're absolutely right. It doesn't mean that someone else won't get value from it. And I think that's important to recognize. There are plenty of things that I own that if I gave it to you, you'd be like, what is this clutter? I don't want this, right? And so when she says, burn the things, trash the things, it's a metaphor for making room for what's going on in our hearts. Our hearts are very cluttered, emotional clutter, spiritual clutter, psychological clutter, all this internal clutter is going on inside us. And by dealing with what's going on around us, we're finally able to free up what's going on inside.
Yeah. I would posit, too, that, all of the physical things that you see in this theater, eventually will become trash. Now, one of the nice things about minimalism is the less you consume, the less waste you produce. But once you take that item off the shelf, the damage is already done. And it does matter how you get rid of certain, like batteries, you want to recycle them properly. You want to give things the donation stores if you can to be reused and things like that. But it doesn't matter how you're getting rid of your things. The damage to the planet, I would say, has mostly been done already.
Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.